Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
No, thank you so much. Thanks.
On behalf of DMAPR, Director of Medicine and Aromatic Plants, I have been given the duty to welcome the people here. Just before I start, I just want to tell something about this directorate. Directorate was established in the year 1992 as NRC. NRC on Directorate of Medicinal Plant and Betel Wine and Aromatic Plants and Betel Wine. It was in 1992 and it was upgraded in the year 2008 as Directorate. First of all, I would like to welcome our Deputy Director General, for whom we were all waiting very much anxiously, Dr. A.K. Singh. He is our Deputy Director General and he is representing our 23 horticultural institutes in ICR. Sir, very much welcome from DMAPR, and on behalf of everybody, sir, you will be acting as the chairman here. And to talk about Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. A.K. Singh is seeing about 23 agricultural institutes throughout India, as well as our institute also, as well as our ACRIP, All India Coordinated Research Project. All he is handling. So he is our leader, main leader here. Apart from that, we have Dr. James. We are very much, it is auspicious day for us. Dr. J.L.N. Shastri, CEO of NMPB, Ayush Ministry is here. So for the general audience, what I mean, I want to just simply give what NMPB is, because many of the audience here may not know about the NMPB. NMPB is National Medicinal Plant Board, which was established by Government of India in the year 2014 to coordinate with all matters relating to medicinal plants and support policies and programs for growth of trade, export, conservation and cultivation. It is working under the Ministry of Ayush. All may be knowing, sir, it is very much welcome in this session to you, and you will be acting as chief. Now we have another luminary in the same horticulture division, Dr. T. Jankiram. He is also one of the main resource person here. Then today we are also honored to have Dr. Prabodh Kumar Trivedi. So congratulations on your taking over as the director of this new CMAP. About CMAP, I want to say something little. The CMAP is a frontier plant research laboratory. It was established in the year 1959. So it has gone with a journey of more than 60-61 years. Now CMAP is steering multidisciplinary high quality research in biological and chemical sciences and extending technology services to farmers and entrepreneurs of medicinal aromatic plants. It has 4 regional centers like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Panagar and Purara, that is in Uttarakhand. So it has the massive, very strong body, very robust body that is doing catering to the need of medicinal and aromatic plants. Sir, very much thankful that you are here. Apart from that, we have other panelists like Dr. L. Lal Hingorani. He is from Farmanza Herbal Private Limited. So this part of the group is mainly involved in export of extracts. We will be listening. I don't want much more in detail. Then I want here Dr. S.K. Srivastava. I welcome him here. Dr. Vidhi Vapna, he is Dr. Ayurvedic College, Nadia. Dr. Hitat Patel, farmer, and Dr. Vineet Jain, farmer. All are welcome as a panelist here. Apart from that, we have a very distinguished participants today in this stakeholders meet. Dr. Pushpan Gadan, he was former director NBRI as well as CMAP, and he was also our RSC and QRT chairman earlier. Sir, very much welcome to you. Similarly, we have Dr. H.S. Gupta, very illuminary person, he was former IRI and QRT chairman, last QRT chairman of DMAPR. And my special thanks to Dr. Vasundhara, GKVK, Bangalore, and Dr. Jitendra Kumar, our former director here. I'll be sorry because we have a very short time. Before I give it to my mic to my chairman, our beloved chairman, Dr. A.K. Singh, I would like Dr. Manivel just to present the highlights, because he is mainly the plant breeder who has been working for the last 10 years. So he'll be showing the highlights, what this organization is showing. Dr. Manivel, please, you are given 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes before we hand over the mic to Dr. A.K. Singh to chair the session. Thank you, one and all.
Good morning to all of you. Very, very good morning. Okay. Just only 5 minutes I will be taking that. What are the glimpses of this particular meeting? We are now here, all the researchers, one side farmers, other side pharma companies and others Vaidyas and doctors and traders, exporters and extractors. So we all are here to discuss what is the status of this today's ashwagandha position in our country and what we can opportunities and challenges are there before us, and finally what we are going to make the roadmap for our future journey. So this plant, wonder plant of India, this is originated from India. This particular plant is a wonder plant having multiple uses in human beings like antioxidant, adaptogen, aphrodisiac, and treat also ulcers, anti-inflammatory, cancer, even for toxins, venom toxins, liver tonic, and n number of uses are there, and just a few. And chemical constituent, if you say these have the steroidal alkaloids, about more than 5-6, and it also has the steroidal lactones like vithanolides, vitaferin A, vithanolide. This. Apart from that, it has more than presently is written more than 30 compounds in this. And what are the uses of that compound? The study is also already on. This is the crop. This picture shows that where it is totally distributed, this particular crop. The green color is Withania somnifera. We have another species that is also being cultivated, that is Withania coagulans, having a different usage of these two. So if you see that, the green color shows that there are, if at all, if in the future comes, these are the countries possibly maybe our competitor for cultivation of these particular plants. But we are lucky enough in India, we are till present situation, this crop is being cultivated mostly for more than hundreds of years in this particular area of Madhya Pradesh and around Neemach. But slowly this crop is getting in Haryana, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka, some parts of the Uttarakhand and other areas. So this particular species under All India Coordinated Research Project comes under the umbrella of ICR. So we have the 26 centers. Out of that, this red colored one, these centers are directly working on breeding aspect as well as the developmental aspect of the ashwagandha. The other centers are associated in the coordinated trial collections. That means this particular slide shows we have a very wonderful system of testing this particular so far we have developed a good agriculture practices. It covers all the aspects from seeds to the harvesting and post-harvesting, and bulletin has been published. And we also standardized the standard operating protocols for the estimation of the some of the chemicals available in the major chemicals available in the ashwagandha. And we have a very good genetic resources. More than 1,000 germplasms are available with the different centers, including our DMAPR. And additionally, we have released more than 5 to 6 varieties. So these are the germplasm. It has been released, 5 germplasm released, and its IP, intellectual property, has been with ICR. So one line, this is TWS237. It is having only 15 to 20 centimeter height growth. It's a very dwarf one. Similarly, we have one spreading type ashwagandha, and another ashwagandha we are having one. This is called leaf is totally curling different. And we have another line which is having a very yellow color young leaves, and it goes like that. So finally, and these are the germplasm is available. This can be licensed to the any interested companies or something like that. And these are the varieties we have released. This is latest one, ashwagandha from Gujarat, Anand Agriculture University. These 3 varieties are released from the Monsoor Center, J134 and J20 earlier varieties, and RAV 100. And we also released our varieties from our DMAPR, and this is our Vallabh Ashwagandha 1. This is having a peculiar characteristics around 150 to 160 days it will mature, and it has a red color berry as compared to the all other varieties released by our system is yellow color berry. And this is the root system of that particular variety. So we have enormous variability in this particular crop. A small plant to tall, small leaf to very broad, and we have thick stem to thin stem, like that in morphological, even for physiological, as well as for the biochemical characteristics. So these are the jump blossom, just to show the variability, how we are having the variability for the leaves. This also shows the variability for the plant type. It is something like erect type and bread and pussy and more leaves and bread leaves. And this line is having a very brittle type of root. We can easily break like a carrot. So these are the some variability for the root characteristics, that how we are having this. This one is as compared to the root and shoot ratio. This will tell this like this. Just to show the variability only, we have more than 500, 600 lines like this. So that is for available. So with this, just I want to block certain issues we are going to discuss with the permission of the chair. And this some of the aspect about the variety or seed chain or varietal registration and other aspect. What are the technology which is needed by the farmers or traders, and as with this, particularly the post-harvest technologies that the Darshan Shankar from DDU has very much interested onto the fungal and pathogens has to be controlled on that. And also demand and supply chain, the traders and as well as farmers are worrying about that, and price issues and marketing issues, transport if it is something is there, and finally some polish issues. These are the area just I am taking to the things with the chairman. Now the chairman can advise us whether we can go for a presentation, and at the end the chairman and the CEO will be talking. Now it is handed over to Dr. Chairman, Dr. A.K. Singh. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mandal, and yes, thank you, and good morning to all of you. And it is such a good occasion that we are joined for this particular meeting. The stakeholders from various fields, from the academic institutions, ICAR, universities, private institutions, for the cause of deliberations, where we can develop some proceedings at the end of the meeting, and then accordingly we can, if any point comes out which could be recommended as a policy framework, or if something comes out where the research is to be intensified by the DMAPR or any other institutions, including the regional stations. I must thank Director DMAPR for organizing this meeting, and it is so nice that we are joined by Dr. Sastry, the CEO of NMPB, my colleague Dr. Janki Ram, ADG, Dr. B.K. Pandey, another ADG, and Dr. Trivedi, Dr. H.S. Gupta, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, the previous director of that DMAPR institutions, Manuel, who has been working on this particular crop for so many years at the institutions. And needless to mention that this crop is an ancient crop which is native to India. And as a result of that, we have the huge variability which is available in different agroclimatic zones, and it has been in use in various formats by the society, particularly Indian society. And the benefit of this one, along with the movement of the Indian publics and other countries, the benefit of this one has gone there also. As a result of that, it has created a huge business. However, this business is not sufficient in the present time. When the Prime Minister calls that we have to double the income of the farmers by the turn of 2022, and also we have to double the agri exports to the tune of $75 billion from $36.6 billion by the turn of 25 and 26. So this, although occupies this particular crop, although occupies small area, relatively small areas in different agroclimatic conditions, nevertheless, there are people, there are farmers, particularly those who eke out their livelihood from the cultivation of this one by selling the products. The variety of the products is available today in the market. However, much more is to be done. Particularly 2 days back, I was reading a news from BBC also, the newspaper published by them. It says that ashwagandha has a tremendous value. This needs a validation how this could be useful in developing any medicine or any immunity in the human being by consumption of the ashwagandha. I'll forward it to director. And I think those stakeholders present here are engaged in aggregation of this particular commodities and doing the value addition for their marketing in India and overseas, will be able to share the views here, and also take the benefit of the opportunity by the ideas from the diverse areas where the large number of participants are visible. I don't know many of them by name, but I must thank all of them for allocating some time for this particular cause, which is going to be beneficial for us in view of getting your recommendations. Can more through our regional centers, and once we are through the development of technology, and then we can connect ourselves with the hand holding with the farmers, so that they are able to take the advantage of this technology. Here I would like to mention that although we have been using the ashwagandha in various formats, I think when we talk of the value addition, excuse me, then in that case, we have to identify, characterize, crystallize the compound for which this particular crop is so important. And then with the help of some stakeholders in pharmaceutical industries, the technology could be licensed for upscaling and catching up the global market, so that the benefit accrues down the line to the farmers and creates a huge amount of rural employment. And this gels well with the Government of India's plan of the crop diversification. So we can present before the farmers an option, very economically viable option, where they can adopt this crop as in cropping system of the different agroclimatic regions, and harness the benefit of cultivation of this particular crop, so that country gets the benefit. And also whatever Government of India has deployed in terms of the monetary allocation or human resources allocation, the benefit of that comes back to the Government of India and the country, and we can take it forward. So I have never worked on the ashwagandha, but I've been knowing only the medicinal property of this one. Under special occasions, in some ailments, this has been using. I have also witnessed the benefit of this particular crop, and there are many stakeholders who are knowledgeable. Those who have been working in the area for years together, they have been trading this commodity in various formats. I think without wasting any time, let us start to hear from the experts, so that we can build on the recommendations. And it's much more important to hear the experts rather than listening to the DDG. With this, I must thank all of you for joining us, and please stay with us so that we can hear all of you. All of you can hear everyone, and you can give your input. May not be possible for each and everyone to speak on the occasion. However, I would request you to please send an email or a note to the director, so that we can deliberate again at our level, and we can cull the points which needs our research inputs, or if there's some technology is available, we can connect through those technologies with the farmers or stakeholders, so that the crop gets the due advantage, due promotion, and benefit accrues to the community, global community as well as local community. Thank you so much. And once again, I thank the organizer.
Sir, now we request our CEO sir to comment, or he want to comment at the end.
We can take the views of Dr. Janki Ram also.
Janki Ram sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, everybody. Respected our DDG Dr. A.K. Singh Saab, our respected QRT Chairman Dr. H.S. Gupta ji, then Dr. Prakash Rao ji, and our ex-director DMAPR, ICR DMAPR Jitendra Kumar ji, Director Satyajit ji, Dr. Manivel, and all my colleagues and other dignitaries from industry, then ASRP centers. Everyone, good morning once again. I think today is a very special day, I feel, because when the WHO has given call for health for all, and also the present situation when we are in the COVID-19 situation, everybody is talking about the stress and also developing immunity. So in this context, I feel the DMAPR has taken at right time, very good initiative of organizing this stakeholders meet, exploring the opportunities, then discussing challenges and what are the policy issues to be discussed on ashwagandha, particularly this important crop. According to the WHO, the market for herbal products is 6.2 billion. And by 2050, I think it's going to be expected 5 trillion it is going to touch. So in the light of this importance, I think this is one product is going to play a very important role. And particularly a few days back, as our DDG also mentioned that there was a news in BBC item, and also in India Today it was mentioned that there was an article by IIT Delhi. They worked along in a collaboration with AIST, that is National Institute of Advanced Science and Technology, Japan, and they have explored and that this ashwagandha may be very, having potential for anti-COVID developing a drug for anti-COVID drug. And of course, as far as ICR contribution, as Dr. Manivel has already presented, there is another one variety from Indian Institute of Horticulture Research developed, that is Arka Ashwagandha. I think we need to promote our varieties wherever this crop is grown. And another thing is, when I was going through the abstract, the annual demand of this ashwagandha is 7,000 tons. But whereas it was mentioned that we are only producing 1,500 tons, that is a gap of 5,500 tons gap is there. So we need to today address how to meet this gap of 5,500 tons. And also we need to explore the possibility for developing various drugs involving our own varieties evaluation for different chemical constituents, like for developing our local medicines in the form of powders or tablets or any other form to address this stress, because this ashwagandha is mentioned to address very common problems found in society nowadays, that is stress related issues, then arthritis, then diabetes, hypertension. So there is a lot of scope that this ashwagandha can address. And of course, there are some issues like in value chain gaps. Already Dr. Manivel has mentioned that good agriculture practices developed for this ashwagandha crop, but we need to give more importance for organic cultivation and also explore the possibility of growing this crop in hydroponics. Then there are, as DDG was mentioning, we need to definitely give, when the slogan given by our Prime Minister, that is developing local vocal. So in this context, I think we explore to develop many value-added products in this crop also, because there is a lack of value-added products. That is one major gap. Then there is a problem of volatile market price. How we can address? Like, now there was a, now total, that is all vegetables and fruits are included for addressing this price volatility. And then we can also explore for these, medicinal aromatic plants, particularly this kind of very important crops. Then there is a need to work more on crop improvement and quality improvement, because Dr. Manivel has mentioned that the variability is available and almost 600 lines are, available. and the variation is available. So how to exploit for the improvement purpose, we need to, I will just finish another 1 or 2 points. And there is a poor seed chain available in this crop. Then even the entrepreneurship development, when we are talking about the employment generation at a village level, even we can exploit this crop, explore. Today we can have some ideas how to, retain this our migrant laborers, utilizing them in the villages by promoting this crop. And also there is no referral lab of quality testing. And yesterday also our DDG was mentioning that we need to have at least some 4 to 5 referral laboratories. Then mechanization in production and processing. Labor is going to be again a problem. So we need to explore the possibility of mechanization and production of processing. And lastly, I think now looking into the recent this announcement that by the government of India, this NMPB is given 800 hectares to be developed, corridor to be developed along the banks of Ganga. So whether today we can explore the possibility of including in this program this crop, very important, since it is very important. And also there is a promotion of 10 lakh hectares of under this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program, and they have allotted 4,000 crores for this program. I think today we can also discuss how to become part of this and also explore the possibilities. And lastly, I would like to request particularly the NMPB CEO that last time they have taken the campaigning of Tinospora, that is Giloy, which is again a very important medicinal crop. And likewise, to give more emphasis for this crop and its popularity, I think together ICAR and NMPB, we can take up the campaigning of this ashwagandha to reach more people and give more prominence in the society. So with this few remarks, I congratulate Dr. Satyajit Ji, Director, and also Dr. Manivel and all other colleagues, and particularly our DDG, who has just last week only we discussed organizing this, and he has immediately told us we can go ahead with this program. So I thank each one of you for listening to me. Thank you very much. Good day.
Okay, so I can request Madam Vidhi Madam, can you able to share from your Ayurveda perspective?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Good morning, everyone. I just thank Dr. Manivel to giving me this opportunity to talk about the Ayurveda aspect of Ashwagandha. Good morning to all the dignitaries on board. And with this, sir, in Ayurveda, the Ashwagandha has been described since long time. In Charak Samhita, it has been described as a Balya and Bruhaniya. That means it is a very good strengthening and nourishing drugs, as well as it has been said to be a very good Rasayana, that is a very good rejuvenating drug, and also a Medhya Rasayan, that is, it is good for the nervous system and a very good memory enhancer also. As sir had said that yesterday or 2 days back, there was a news about IIT Delhi discovering about some this Ashwagandha in this COVID-19 pandemic, and it's a virus. So I would also like to draw your attention to the thing that in Charak Samhita, there is a chapter Kashswas Adhyay that is related to the treatment of the respiratory diseases. There, I just want to draw the attention that there it is said that Ashwagandha Kshar, that is, alkali is being prepared from Ashwagandha and it is given with honey and ghee. And see the relevance that yesterday only they found that the Ashwagandha and the honey, CAPA, you might be reading all of you. So both of these combination has been thought to be very good for antiviral for this maybe through molecular docking. And I was also reading one research paper from Patanjali Research Institute. They have already published a preprint in March, and they also claim that through molecular docking that ashwagandha can be a very good molecule, very good candidate for this COVID-19 virus. So, sir, I would request you to please make it what the demand supply gap is there. So, my recommendation would be that the demand supply chain should be maintained about ashwagandha at our pharmacy. We are using about 1000 kg of ashwagandha yearly, and we are getting it mostly from the Madhya Pradesh region. And many researches have been already done on the various aspects of ashwagandha, like it has been proved to be a very good immunomodulatory as well as a very good antioxidant. So looking into all these property, it is a very good candidate, and not only for preventive aspect but also for the treatment aspect. The ashwagandha kshar, which is indicated in Charak Samhita, can be taken in the treatment protocol, and also further research is needed. So with this, sir, I hand over to you. And in Ayurveda, a lot of literature is available about ashwagandha. There are many formulations like ashwagandha rishta, ashwagandha delay. Lots of researches, clinical researches have already been done, and still some more research is needed to be done on this particular plant. Thank you very much.
And now I request our Honorable Dr. P.K. Trivedi, sir, Director CMAP Lucknow.
Dr. Manival and Dr. As we see that Vidania has established a niche in the world for its formulations, as well as so these formulations and other products are taken worldwide for different prevention of different diseases, as well as now like even in drug formulations. And the research suggests that formulation based on Vidania are helpful for many diseases. This we have already talked about. If you see CSIR under Nimitli program has been working on for more than I think 18 years on Vidania, and so in CSIR like CMAP, NBRI, CDRI, IICB, so there are 4 or 5 institutes work together to establish science behind different like its use for Vidania. In addition to that, under Nimitli program, CMAP collected Vidania germplasm accession from all over India and characterized them based on their phytochemical profiles. And nowadays, our team in CMAP, like Dr. Sudan Singh ji, Dr. Gupta, and Dr. Tripta Jhang, they are working extensively on its like germplasm, establishing the gene bank as well as breeding programs. And so CMAP has developed distinct chemotypes. Like if you go in the market, you buy Vidania root or something, but what happens, it may or may not be having active ingredients. So therefore, there is a specific need nowadays, and that is for cultivation of specific chemotypes of Vidania. After characterizing them through multi-location trials, as well as we need to have some certified quality material. Like we need to establish in India a some body that they can certify the material, that if this material has a phytochemical profile like this, whether bidenone is present or benzoylate A is present or bidaferin is A present. So there are specific lines developed by your institute as well as CMAP, where specific molecules are present, and some of the molecules may be very low or at the very high levels. So there is a need to have this certification agency who can suggest that if this variety is used, then this might be for this specific disease or for the prevention of a specific disease. So this is a really need in India nowadays. The other part is like export potential. As I understand, like in 2017-18, there was almost 300 million US dollars Vidania formulations or in different forms we have exported. However, we are also importing it. Like if you see about 50 million US dollars we have also imported from other countries. So we need to see that as it had also been told that there is a lot of deficit. We need almost 7,000 tons and we only produce 1,500 tons in India. So if we characterize few specific varieties, due to these varieties to the farmers and then certification agency. Like in CMAP, what has done, we develop few varieties like Nimitri 101 and 118. We have given those to the farmers in Hyderabad region. There are farmers, big farmers, those who are growing them, and industries are taking material from them. So we need to have such varieties, and there should be one body who should certify that, okay, this material has this fingerprint for the metabolites and this should go for the industry or not. So that some regulations we need to put in. And we also have here our other scientists like Tripta Jhang here. She has developed lots of varieties through breeding and they have specific metabolite content. I think that we should generate one database in India, that what we have in India in different institutes, what is their chemo profiles and how we can use for the industry for development of different formulation or for the drug. This is what I can say. And one more thing, that when we were working in Nimitri program with CDRI, IICB and NBRI, we scientifically characterize that there are some specific chemotypes. They are good for immunomodulatory. There is a one ecotype that is for the stroke. And we have Bidaferin A, like for bone health. That is very scientifically proven data. And for some of them, we have also filed the patent. So we need to develop, if there is a knowledge already established in Ayurveda, we should also do deep research to know its scientific validation. We should always do scientific validation for all these things. So we need to, like with the NMPB, I will request that we should try to make a group for the quality assurance and for doing good science as well as cultivation. And CMAP will always, with the Bidania program, whatever program will be developed, we all collectively will work together. This is all from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Trivedi sir. Hitat Patel, please.
Yes, I have brief experience about ashwagandha farming. I took some seeds from Dr. Manivel and I have grown in my farm just to experiment, how does it come. So I've got success, but the only issue is with the marketing, because farmers are aware about the marketing side of the ashwagandha. So if we get connected to the exporters and traders, then we will able to understand the demand, and then we can grow it accordingly. So but another project which I have initiated, because I also live in Ahmedabad city. So what I have planned to create is ashwagandha nursery, and I would like to sell 10,000 plants to city people. So at least 10,000 families will have ashwagandha plant, and they can eat their leaves, and of course once it will die, they can eat, process the root. And they can at least get benefited from this plant.
Okay, thank you. Dr. EVS Prakash Rao ji.
Thank you, Dr. Manivel. Actually, I wanted to make 2 points for the benefit of this discussion. Number one is that a plant like ashwagandha or any medicinal plant for that matter cannot be looked upon as a regular crop, as a regular food crop or horticultural crop. There are specialized crops having limited demand and focused markets and specific technologies. And as Dr. Prabodh Tiwari has very eminently said, the chemistry of these plants, which are of very much importance in the pharmaceutical and herbal drug industries. But now I would like to talk from the farmer's point of view in a way that we have to develop clusters. The National Medicinal Plants Board has very eminently been assigned by the recent program of the Honorable Prime Minister to promote herbal products with an allocation of 4,000 crores. So therefore, we can identify some of these plants that must include ashwagandha, where we have to develop clusters of farmers where an end-to-end mission approach is adopted. That is, from the right variety, good agronomy, good post-harvest methods, and marketing. And of course, it is very important, as somebody else in the panel has mentioned, that there should be laboratories for quality checks. So I feel that unless we have a cluster approach where farmer need not run to mandis, because I have extensively traveled in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and talked to the farmers. So one of the issues is that it is not easy for them to market the product. So therefore, we have to develop a chain where farmers, every farmer need not take his limited product in a small tractor or a small bullock cart to the mandis, but there should be a collection kind of method for this. That also will help us to overcome situations like COVID, because now Dr. Manuel has specifically said COVID situation. So where we need not have many people congregating across the state borders. So that way we can have the value chain and also support of the market and then connect to the industry. So this is number one. Number two is, somebody has said about organic methods, that we have done some research which has shown a very good result in the agronomy of Withania somnifera, where you can substitute chemical fertilizers with biofertilizers, which we have seen the vithaminoid contents. We have seen that it has not been affected. Therefore, the quality aspect, which many people are talking about, that use of chemicals might reduce the quality, but it was not so in our research. Therefore, I think it can be even revalidated by others, but it is a fact that we can increase the yields by not less than 30 to 40% from the existing yield levels. So therefore, actually I talked to a farmer in Madhya Pradesh last year as a QLT member of DMARP, where he said that he is applying fertilizers on his own without any recommendations. So therefore, proper soil testing and recommendation of proper fertilizers, which is very much needed to increase the production of quality Withania roots. So these are the two important points that I want to contribute to this session. Thank you very much.
Dr. Gupta, please kindly.
Thank you very much. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yes, sir, very clearly.
Okay. Distinguished Chair, Dr. A.K. Singh ji, the Chief Guest, CEO NMPB, Mr. Shastri, distinguished participants, experts, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it a privilege to join this group, and today's topic is very important in view of the fact, as DDG had said, that we need to double the income of the farmers by 2022. And during the recent announcement in Atmanirbharta plan, government has given emphasis on medicinal and aromatic plants. See, I'm sure all of you are aware that that in agriculture, the profit is on decline, especially when you cultivate food crops. Therefore, diversification is the key to holding the farmers to agriculture. Now, medicinal aromatic plants are one of the important ones where we can attract farmers, and especially the migrant laborers who have gone back to villages. It was pointed out by one of the panelists, I think we all know, that against current demand of 7,000 tons, we produce only 1,500 tons. So demand is not a problem. I think we should be able to upscale and outscale the production. Now, what comes now is a quality planting material. See, a number of varieties have been released by CIMAP. The latest one which I was seeing where root yield is very high, and that is CIMAP Pratap with 34 quintal per hectare of yield, Nimetli 101, Nimetli 118 with again high yield. Then we have from ICR system Jawahar 2022. So what we need to do, we need to ensure that farmers get best planting material. Okay, and we have to set up, some group who can really certify, some farmers who can be a producer, who can supply the quality planting material, and there could be other set of farmers who can cultivate and sell the roots. Now, Dr. Trivedi was talking about chemotypes. Once we have, different varieties, the chemotyping of those different varieties can be done in collaboration with CIMAP. And then you can decide the priority, which are the varieties are chemotypes which will be in demand. And then make sure that quality planting material remains available. I would not like to repeat what Dr. Janki Ram had said. He has beautifully elaborated everything, so I would not try to duplicate it again. But I would like to reiterate two things. One is price to the farmers. I think ensuring right price to the farmers is very important. And for that, if we can establish farmer producer organization, for which Government of India is giving a lot of incentive. So if we can do in this also, FPOs, especially in various clusters, if we can establish it for ashwagandha, that would be great. Then another important thing which I feel very strongly is that coming together and complementing strengths of CIMAP and DMAPR. I think that is very important. We still do not know that what are the varieties which are the highest yielders, because CIMAP has released separate set of varieties, DMAPR and ICR has released separate set of varieties. So there is a need to conduct a multi-location trial and really identify those ones which are the best quality planting material. So I think we had a great deal of discussion during our visit to CIMAP Lucknow with the farmer director, and it was emphasized at that point of time that once CIMAP's material is assessed and released by national system, it will be easy for them to retain the IPR and people will not be able to duplicate it. So I would like to emphasize on director of CIMAP and director of DMAPR to sit down and work it out so that farmers get the best planting material. Friends, the last point which I want to flag here is migrant laborers. This is the golden opportunity for agriculture to retain people in the villages. People have already gone to the villages, and most of them, many of them said they would not like to come back to the cities again. So here is an opportunity for us to attract the farmers to agriculture. And if we can really show that medicinal aromatic plants have got a great scope for and as a generator of income, I was seeing that the profitability, net profitability is 75,000 to 1 lakh rupees in 6 to 8 months. So if we can ensure that 6 to 8 months, within 6 to 8 months, a farmer can get around 75,000 to 1 lakh rupees, that would be really a very attractive offer. And farmers, those who have gone back, especially the migrant laborers who are enterprising, we should try to, rope them in and try to see it is, medicinal aromatics plants are taken up in a big way. The last one point which I would like to mention is we had from DBT, we had allotted a project to Jhandu Pharmacy or Jhandu Pharma Company, where they had taken up cultivation of 6 hectare, 15 acre of ashwagandha with in the help of KVK. Let me tell you the name of the KVK. It's KVK Valsad.
Amity, sir.
KVK Valsad.
Yeah, Valsad, sir. Amity, Valsad.
Are you there?
Yeah, he there.
Yes, sir. I am here, sir.
KVK Valsad. And also we had extracted a promise, and in fact, let me say otherwise, Jhandu Pharma Company has promised that they will purchase back. They will purchase whatever produce farmers have in that area. So when we are spreading this, we should try to make sure, as Dr. Prakash Rao said, that farmers should not get really disappointed. He should get a right price of material, he should get a right quality of material, and we should be able to help them to see that they get a better realization. With these 3 words, I once again thank the chair, Dr. Manivel, and all colleagues for having given me opportunity to share my thoughts on ashwagandha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such an elaborate and very precious point for consideration by the institution and by the stakeholder as well, sir. Sir, as you rightly said, the migrant, this is the golden opportunity that the migrant laborers can be skilled, can be trained, can be exposed to the market. Because putting these disposable labor in the traditional farming system or traditional crops in the Indo-Gangetic plains, particularly Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Eastern UP particularly, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal and Odisha, these states, these are migrant, more than 90% of the laborers are these only. So if they are trained particularly in a crop which are high value, for which the market exists, and provided they are given the adequate training, they are skilled, exposed to the market, and only then, sir, probably it seems to my opinion, you may please correct me, sir, then the benefit will accrue to the objectives, I think. And one more thing, sir, Dr. Rao, before you, sir, I think you joined a little later. I think, did you hear to Rao or not? But he said one point, this could not become a normal field crop. My experience with the DMAPR is that in the last couple of years, the demand for the quality planting material, and your kind self also highlighted it, the demand is rising year on year. That means the area is expanding. That is, once we do the backward calculation and we do the global, we can prepare a global trade map of this commodity in who are the buying countries, what is the trend, what kind of material is being transported from these recipients and these sending agencies. And based on that, these informations could be deployed in the farming system here in India. And why not, if the area increases, then based on the backward calculation, we can increase and expand the areas under the useful varieties, be it of DMAPR or CMAP Lucknow.
Yes, I think that's very well. Yeah, very valid point. Very valid point.
Thank you, sir. Actually, for your information, this project which you are mentioning about Jandu along with the DPT, that is now come to second phase. First phase successfully completed. We are in second phase. This time again, we are going for Ashwagandha in the 2 districts, sir. That is, we are taking this for information. Now, Dr. Srivastava from NBRI is on board. So I request Dr. Srivastava to come into the.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Manivel. Dr. Prabodh Trivedi has already briefed about and he has given valid input on this Ashwagandha chemotypes, cultivation, quality issues and quality planting material. And Professor H.S. Gupta sir has already focused the whole panel that yes, we have to focus towards the QPM. And I have 2 input here, that we have to go for the location specific cultivation of QPM, because we have now all the identified chemotypes from all across the country. First thing is that we have chemotypes, so we have to go with the location specific cultivation practices. Second, I hope Dr. Jailen Shastri will definitely speak about that dosage forms, because we have cultivation practices, we have SOPs, we have farmers who are doing this cultivation, and now in coming days and even years, we are having huge demand of Ashwagandha, not only for the country as well as for the world. So we have to think over the quality with quality planting material as well as the dosage form or the extract which we are going to supply to different industries in not only in India as well as other countries. So this is the 3 points which I wanted to share, and rest I will share it through email to you, and then we will circulate to all the members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. And take Dr. Kamal. Yeah, you can come.
Myself, Professor K.N. Dwivedi, Faculty of Ayurveda, Banaras Hindu University. I was one of the members who who issued the Ayush advisory from Government of India. Dear learned speakers and learned gathering, I will like to say that starting from Dunal, who is the scientist who identified the Vidania somnifera Dunal and gave the name Vidania in the honor of great geologist Henry Witham, and somnifera means simple sleep inducing. From that time up to starting from a sleep inducing agent up to now, as an adaptogenic, as an rejuvenative, as an anti-cancer agent, as an anti-diabetic agent, nervine depressant, and because it has certain phytosterols in the form of vidinolides and in the form of lactoferrins. And my previous speakers have also said. So you see, while few days back, while sharing a webinar along with my one of close friends, Dr. Jailen Shastri, who happens to be the chairman, CEO of NMPB, he informed me that about 20% increase in the amount to be exported from the Hyderabad airport itself. It means the demand of Ashwagandha is hugely increasing. And it is very right that speakers have said to include other geological parts of India for the cultivation of Ashwagandha. But you know, Ashwagandha usually grows on soily loam or red soils, having within a pH of 7.8 to 8. So we should not blindly earmark the places. We just along the banks of river Ganga, we can say it is not very good. We can say that Gangetic plains, and before cultivation, before encouraging the cultivation, the soil should be checked and compared as either from Manasa of Mandsaur or from certain areas of Maharashtra or Nagaur from Rajasthan, because these are the naturally occurring places for ashwagandha, and the cultivates have maximum concentration of ingredients in the ashwagandha grown in those parts. Regarding certification, not only I will say not only the simple certification, but the yields should be chromatographed, and there is a comparative study of the yields collected from different parts should be done. And in addition, the extraction parties, they should also get certified that they have a certain range of those ingredients or not, because ashwagandha being cultivated in different geological zones, it may not have a very pinpointed concentrations. We should make a range of the concentration of ingredients, and then we should fix its standards. Secondly, market has also increased because not only for medicinal purpose. You see, in nutraceutical formulations also, ashwagandha is being incorporated very widely, and everyone wants to take ashwagandha, but in taste it is slightly bitter, though it has been written Madhur Vipaka, included in Madhur Skandha of Charak Samhita, but it has Katu Tikta Madhur Rasa, according to Ayurveda. That's why nutraceuticals are incorporating the ashwagandha, making their granules, powders, etc., and flavoring agents, and they are manufacturing at broad level and marketing at a broad level also. So we should, proud of ashwagandha, we should increase, we should think how to increase the yields, produces of ashwagandha. One thing I will also like to say that a collective effort is needed from NMPB, CMAP, CSIR, ICMR, and also Ayush, because the major part of the users are from either Ayush practitioners who prescribe the patient for ashwagandha. And really, I have seen certain papers scientific papers of ashwagandha that it is anti-cancer also. And according to my opinion, that anti-cancer property is due because the ashwagandha, the ingredients of ashwagandha, either withanolides or somniferins, they inhibit the multiplication of cells. Similarly, they check cell growth, they check cell cycle. Similarly, they may be effective. It is an hypothesis. They may be effective in controlling the viral replication in the human being. It is a hypothesis. Till date, no any cure is developed worldwide. Everybody is making endeavors. We should also make endeavor. And lastly, I would like to say that these 4,000 crores, which has been released by for these medicinal plants, should be utilized very, very carefully. We should, I think NMPB should, or we all should screen that if we are giving a certain amount of money for research in that institute is well capable of to do that or not. We should call meetings of farmers on a platform. I have given Dr. Jailen Shastri a platform in my BHU, in my Banaras Hindu University. That is a primary health center governed by our Banaras Hindu University, Chiraigaon. We have a place that, and he is going to visit also in the May after lifting of lockdown, because we gather the farmers. The farmers need a workshop. They need to be educated. They need to be educated for the development of soil, for the cultivation of ashwagandha. And these will be, we have planned with Jailen Shastri and me and my dean, Professor Y.B. Tripathi. let us see what happens with these comments. I will sure I will attend for half an hour more, and then I would like your permission to leave the meeting as I have to attend another webinar also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal, and it was very nice. And now, before moving to Dr. Vandana,
Sir.
Who is coming?
Yeah, this is Vandana. Before he leaves, I want to ask one question, if you allow me.
Yeah, Kamal sir, please wait. Dr. Vandana.
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Yeah,
I'm hearing.
Yeah, sir, just to based on this your discussion, I would like to have one question.
Yes.
Can we shortlist 5 to 10 herbal formulations from our traditional knowledge wherein ashwagandha is used, and on that we can further take thorough research?
Sure, you are welcome. You sort out and inform to the Ministry of Ayush, Honorable Secretary, and then we will think upon it.
Yeah, can we get such informations from all renowned Vaidyas and those who are having in-depth knowledge on Ayurveda, sir?
You see, the Vaidyas from whom the suggestions were taken is mentioned at in the foot of that advisory. But the India is not, we cannot limit that these 15 are the most important, including me. Because I was one of the 15. भारत विद्वानों का गढ़ है. यहाँ गांव में भी ऐसे लोग पड़े हुए हैं जो कि आयुर्वेदिक औषधियों के बारे में बहुत जानते हैं. And we also, where our principle is also कि किरात गोपालक तापसाद्या वनेच राष्ट्र कुशला स्थान्य विदंति नाना विधि विषयानाम प्रमाण वर्ण कृति नाम जाति तेभ्यः सकाशात् उपलभ्य वैद्य पश्चात् शास्त्रेषु विवृश्य बुद्ध्या विकल्पये द्रव्य रस प्रभावान विपाक वीर्याणि तथा प्रयोगात्. We can gather all the knowledge from you and other people, but if we want to make it global and we want to make ashwagandha as a medicine at global level, then we have to conduct researches, plant researches, so that it can be approved not only other parts of medicine but also by FDA USA.
Okay.
But chromatographic studies for concentration of to check the concentration of the ingredients, and clinical studies and multicentric clinical studies, and cultivation before cultivation the investigation of the land is very necessary.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Namaste, sir. Namaste.
Okay, before that, Dr. Sodhan Singh from CMEP.
Make a few points regarding why ashwagandha is not becoming a field crop and how easily it can become. We have to consider only ashwagandha is being grown as a sole crop mostly under rainfed conditions, and as a sole crop it has already proved that now it has been introduced in another area that is supposed to be non-traditional, Anantapur area of Telangana, and where this is being grown in more than 4,000 hectare land at present. But if we follow the cropping system approach, in which farmers do not have to sacrifice a Kharif season crop, then this area can be increased in multifold immediately. So far as cropping system approach, intercropping system doesn't work here because it is a root crop. If we provide shade, then root development does not take place. So we have developed a overlapping cropping system with many of the Kharif season crops like pearl millet, which is a dominant crop of Rajasthan, pigeon pea, maize, etc. The crop of other regions. If we sow the seeds of ashwagandha, then these crops are at their physiological maturity, and as soon as immediately after or at the time of recession of monsoon, So after sowing, we have to remove our traditional crop, and then ashwagandha will go. So by this approach, this area can be increased multifold. Secondly, maintenance of plant population up to 3 to 4 lakh per hectare is most essential for ashwagandha. It seems to be very difficult, but it is very easy if we follow line sowing instead of in place of broadcasting. So these are the some economic practices which can make ashwagandha as a field crop very easily, and we can increase area up to multifold, and the area from 7,000 the production from 7,000 ton to many times can be increased with a minimum efforts. This much I want to add here. Thank you so much.